This change will be commemorated with a party or engagement. Like the graduation ceremony you've been planning for your whole life. This moment will seem both unexpected and inevitable. You will get knowledge that feels like a cosmic download in the coming days. It might be communicated via phone, email, or discussion. You'll realize right away that this is the game changer when it comes. Although your logical mind may find it difficult to accept, your soul will identify it as the point at which your existence begins to divide into before and after. Everyone is going to see a narrative twist. You are being set up for a comeback while they were waiting for you to fail. It won't be personal vindication for you. It will serve as worldwide evidence that individuals who remain faithful throughout the most difficult times are rewarded by the cosmos. Your kingdom is waiting for you. Too long has passed since the throne was occupied. It's time for the person you've been growing into through all of your hardships to take center stage. In your new world, all of the abilities you acquired throughout your struggles become your superpowers. You're on the verge of becoming the external inspiration you've been seeking. That, if only I could be like them, sentiment is going to go entirely the other way. The pupil is going to become the master, and others will look at your life and say, if only I could be like them. In every scenario when people counted you out, you are officially the plot twist. The fact that they were waiting for you to fail while you were being set up for a resurgence that would change everyone's perception is the secret that will soon be made public. They are unaware that they will soon no longer have access to your energy. Your prior labor is not bypassed by the shortcut the universe is exposing. Its effect is exponentially multiplied. Every lesson that is acquired has immense value. Because of this, you had to face challenges along the way in order to prepare for the responsibility that comes with great achievement. Your business endeavors are growing faster than you could have ever dreamed. The audience for the project you've been working on is almost here. Careful planning preceded what seemed like sluggish development, and today everything moves more quickly. You're going to be babied by the cosmos in ways that will first seem nearly alien. You're being asked to give up after years of needing to be strong. You are now considered royalty instead of a fighter. The last piece of the puzzle that opens everything is that surrender. You'll remember this as the last time you ever questioned your fate when you reflect on a month from now. You're going to be rudely awakened to the fact that you never needed to be awake. All you had to do was recall your true self. The funds will arrive. The acknowledgement is on the way. Success is on the horizon. More significantly, however, you are embracing your potential and the life that has been waiting for you to say yes. Chosen one, welcome to your empire. Since they always knew in their hearts that it was about you, the people are angry and envious. They put so much effort into attempting to persuade you differently that they failed to remember the most crucial fact of all. A star that was born to shine cannot be dimmed. You should take back your throne now. This poisonous condition resulted from the combination of these energy. However, neither party was aware of the other's actual goals. As they stare at one another, they realize that someone wasn't being honest about their intentions. Now the truth is beginning to come out. One of them is particularly depressed at the moment. They are examining a problem from the other angle. A relationship that ended. It might have been a lovely relationship. They are coming to the realization that they have harmed themselves. Because they paid attention to those who didn't care about them, they destroyed their own happiness. They believed they were making progress, but in reality, they were regressing. They believed that their value and influence were growing. They believed they had helpful guidance and strong support. They believed they were embarking on a magnificent journey, but it was all a lie. With only themselves to blame, they now sit amid the rubble of what could have been. Are you curious about what really transpired? These individuals came together due of negative influences. It was negativity that brought them together. Things were agitated by the involvement of a karmic masculinity. A poisonous atmosphere was produced by the cohabitation of some individuals. They came up with a plan, but it was a complete failure. Now, everyone is in pain. Some people are attempting to learn how to leave the conditions they caused. Others are stranded as they are unable to go without becoming vulnerable. Those that cohabitate are living in agony. There's a dreadful vibe in their place. Knowing that they both took part in something that ruined their tranquility, they're staring at one another. And there's no simple solution. Let me now explain the falsehoods to you. Someone has been lying for so long that they have lost any desire to lie. However, they must continue to lie since the truth would ruin all they have worked so hard to achieve. Now they are slaves to the falsehoods. They must keep the narrative going. They are becoming tired from having to maintain the fake story. Because of the need to maintain appearances, some people are really experiencing despair. They're always afraid of getting discovered, so they can't even enjoy anything. Around them, everything is shifting. They want to end this cycle. They want freedom. However, they placed themselves in this predicament. When they decided to meddle in your future, they ceded their authority. There's more. There was a significant manipulation going on. They were led to believe false information about you by a negative influence. They were surrounded by challenging individuals who gave them poison every day. One factor was greed. There was lust. Materialism was a factor. It became commonplace for them to relate to others negatively. They believed they were transporting themselves to a joyful and celebratory realm. However, they ended up just where they are now, in a bad place. They ought to have kept to themselves. They ought to have avoided becoming involved in your private matters. They are now exposed and facing unanticipated repercussions. Everybody involved in this catastrophe is dealing with their own karma. It's not beautiful either. Let me explain what they're finding. They're learning painful secrets. To make themselves appear excellent, someone told a fib. The tremor was that low throughout the whole incident. It all came down to looks. Someone was determined to outshine you. They want attention. They lied about you to make themselves seem better because they wanted to be seen as the victor. The falsehoods are now coming to light. Individuals are learning that someone was not who they said they were. Love spells are not without mysteries. Secrets of using the occult to control circumstances. The secrets of someone who acts as if they have moved on. Even for those who believe they understood what was going on, there are surprising secrets concerning treachery and deceit. The hardest hit is one individual in particular. They are unable to avoid the challenging realities they must face. They're under a lot of stress because of something. They're depressed. They're learning that they were duped by someone they trusted all along. They feel deceived, but they are unsure of how to respond. They're discovering that someone made up a story about winning. Someone's spirituality was a deception. Someone was envious and attacked your truth and your talents. This individual is now discovering that they were duped. They were put to use. On the basis of utter fiction, they turned against you. The saddest aspect is that others remained silent while knowing it was all falsehoods. Those individuals remained silent as they saw this individual look foolish. That is the most painful betrayal. However, let me tell you what is now causing them to feel so worried. They're browsing your sites late at night while keeping an eye on you online. They fear that all they've done will soon be revealed. Accusations are already being made against them. Everything is collapsing, and they fear being completely exposed. They are stalking and browsing as they wait to see what you will do next. They know what they've done, and this worry is killing them. They are aware of their part. They are aware of their falsehoods. And they are aware that no matter how hard you attempt to conceal the truth, it will eventually come to light. They watch, scroll, and wait for the other shoe to drop. That worry is karma in and of itself. You should know something about their family as well. This problem involves family secrets. The family was aware of the situation. A family member remained silent despite knowing about the manipulation. Someone in their family was well aware of the reason for the drama that was being fabricated around you. A person who might relate to the jealousy. Someone who saw the fabrication of falsehoods but chose to remain quiet. As a result, this individual is now coping with family problems. The dynamics are different now. There has been a breach of trust. Individuals are observing one another in various ways. Things quickly get sticky when family members interfere in your private affairs and let others make choices for you. And that's precisely what took place here. The relationship was being ripped apart by family members who ought to have been defending it. Everyone is now coping with the consequences. This is when things start to get extremely nasty. Some of the folks this person encountered urged them to keep their own business. Let's say they are out and someone comes up to them with knowledge regarding what has been said behind their return. Unsettling findings and shocking news. They're learning that they've been being disparaged by someone they trusted. They discover that, despite believing everything was okay, they have been the target of rumors and mockery. They are discovering that the individual for whom they made the sacrifice has been speaking about them in an abhorrent manner. You were selected for it before you ever knew it existed, which is how you got there. They discovered the reason for their repeated use of your name. Because in the spiritual world, your name is significant. Because atmospheres change when you're around. Because they feel threatened by your energy. Because their darkness is shown by your brightness. Because their falsehoods are challenged by your truth. Because their stagnation is highlighted by your advancement. Because their turmoil is exposed by your tranquility. Because your happiness interrupts their suffering. Because you are all that they feigned. They are now paying the price for their attempt to stifle the light that God created. Their karma is not yours to bear. You don't have to deal with their fallout. By turning against you, you don't have to mend what they damaged in themselves. All you have to do is keep getting higher. Continue to shine. Continue to pursue your goals. Continue to respect your route. Continue to keep your peace. Continue to expand your kingdom. Continue to truly love yourself. Continue to have faith in divine timing. Remember that you were made to be just like that. Your narrative doesn't stop here. This is only the start. What you lost pales in comparison to what is ahead for you. The one who is coming for you is much superior than the one who departed. You're heading to a much higher place. You're not just getting over what they did to you. Beyond that, you're propelling them into realms of bliss they can't possibly fathom. The nicest aspect is that it doesn't have to be forced. It's not something you have to battle for. All you need to do is remain in alignment and see what happens. So, stand tall, selected ones. You made it through the assault. The exam was passed by you. The war was won by you. Step into your triumph now. Take charge of your life. Enter your purpose. When you stop focusing on the people who didn't choose you, everything you've been waiting for will finally come. Everything that pre-selected you before you were even born has been waiting for you to begin moving ahead. Now is your moment. Take ownership of it. There are legal repercussions for them. The weight of all they do is bearing down on them. And now, for the lovely part. Now, people are able to spot the false. Someone who attempted to surpass you is unable to conceal who they really are. It is visible to everybody. Everyone is aware. That individual thinks you're showing them how successful you are, but in reality, you're simply living your truth. It draws attention to their falsehoods. People are more aware of their financial problems. People are aware of their ability to cast love spells. People are aware of their attempts to portray you as the bad guy. Someone had had enough. Someone has had enough of being taken advantage of and defrauded. There is no turning back now that the truth has come out. Someone was exposed because they were desperate to seem nice. I'll leave you with this, then. You didn't win by fighting dishonestly. You did not play their game. Because you remained loyal to yourself, you prevailed. Because heavenly justice never sleeps, you prevailed. You prevailed because God elevated you by using their assaults as fuel. They were really creating your platform, even if they believed they were making progress. They were eliminating barriers you were unaware existed in your path, even if they believed they were obstructing you. They were preparing themselves for the most humiliating experience, even if they believed they were winning. They're afraid you've moved on to something larger and better at the moment. They fear that you will reject them indefinitely. They're afraid you may meet someone who really cares about you. To be honest, they ought to be afraid. You are entering a strong realm. The promises that were given to you before to your birth are now being fulfilled. You're moving closer to your actual course. The people who attempted to stop you are all on the sidelines. Here's something you should know about their current emotions. When it comes to you, they feel unworthy. They're not feeling well enough to return. They don't believe they'll be able to go beyond their actions. They are aware that they presented a poor version of themselves to you. They are aware of how readily they folded. They pretended to have a solid backbone, yet under pushed, they broke apart like paper. They give themselves up to others. They make choices based on fear. Now that they realize they might have been stronger, they're disgusted with themselves. They are aware that what you two created might have been safeguarded. They are aware that they ought to have defended you. And they are haunted by that cowardice every day. They feel as if they have lost something that they cannot regain. They feel as if they had thrown away something priceless. And they're entirely correct. They're getting scathing criticism from unexpected sources. They're being told they weren't worthy of you. Comments about how they messed up the finest thing they've ever had are being heard. People are telling them they aren't deserving of someone like you. And you know what exacerbates the situation? The folks who first urged them to turn against you are also responsible for some of this criticism. They are now being seen as pitiful by the same individuals that whispered poison in their ear, because they never truly had those folks on their side. They were only puppets in their scheme to harm you. Everyone can see what really occurred now that the dust has settled. The identity of the true villain is obvious to everybody. And while everyone else is pointing fingers, the one who betrayed you is left with the bag. You can foresee what they'll do next. To restore things to their previous state, some of them want to work hard. The melancholy is becoming too much for them to handle. They're devoted to attempting to mend what they have damaged. They must try, they say. Here's what you must keep in mind, however. You owe no one access to your tranquility. Just because someone finally wakes up doesn't mean you have to give them another opportunity. Your energy is not owed to anybody. You must continue to concentrate on your goals, contracts, development, and fate. Because this is the reality. All of them are discovering this too late. You're safe. You're protected. You have been selected. You will get all that was intended for you. Every attempt to harm you will fail. All of the lies that are spoken about you will be uncovered. Whenever they attempt to shut a door, it opens wider than before. They will either correctly repair or replace every relationship they attempted to ruin with a better one. This is not a losing position for you. You weren't. In reality, what seemed to be loss was preparation. In reality, what seemed like betrayal was protection. In reality, what seemed to be the end was really the start of your greatest chapter. Let the selected one continue speaking. Permit them to continue their schemes. Let them try again. It doesn't matter. Their comments cannot change your fate. What God ordained cannot be stopped by their deeds. Your defense is impervious to their energies. They're marching into repercussions, and you're walking into overflow. While they're mired in turmoil, you're moving toward calm. While they're mired in remorse, you're stepping into purpose. This is the operation of divine justice. This is the way karma works. The cosmos maintains its equilibrium in this way. And keep this in mind when they eventually realize you're succeeding without them. Recall the moment they believed they had won. Recall the times they praised your hardships. Recall the time they got together to plan your demise. Then grin because you know that whatever they did was what ultimately led you to your fate. Your fuel was their hatred. Your shortcuts were their barriers. Their assaults turned into your testimony. You didn't just make it through what they threw at you. You turned it into strength. That's what those who are selected do. We transform rather than just triumph. We take the poison and make medicine out of it. We transform the assaults into armor. We use the losses to create the stage for significant victories. They forgot that you are not the author when they attempted to craft your finale. God is, and they can't even begin to conceive or stop the tale that is being created for you. Walk in that then. Take responsibility for it. Be that. That's precisely where you should be. Everything is playing out just the way it should. The truth is emerging. Justice is being done. We're clearing your name. We're opening your route. Your destiny is coming to pass. Furthermore, there is nothing that can be done to stop it. Not the saboteurs, the liars, the manipulators, or the haters. They are all unable to stop what is intended for you. It's your season. Now is your moment. Now is your time. Interest is being applied on the return of all stolen property. Now, whatever that was obstructed is flowing freely. Everything is moving more quickly now that it was delayed. You're going to discover why you had to endure what you did. It will soon become clear to you why some individuals had to reveal their genuine selves. You're about to enter spaces that will explain all of the suffering. When you do, keep in mind that you didn't get yourself there by chance. You were selected for it before you ever knew it existed, which is how you got there. They discovered the reason for their repeated use of your name. Because in the spiritual world, your name is significant. Because atmospheres change when you're around. Because they feel threatened by your energy. Because their darkness is shown by your brightness. Because their falsehoods are challenged by your truth. Because their stagnation is highlighted by your advancement. Because their turmoil is exposed by your tranquility. Because your happiness interrupts their suffering. Because you are all that they feigned. They are now paying the price for their attempt to stifle the light that God created. Their karma is not yours to bear. You don't have to deal with their fallout. By turning against you, you don't have to mend what they damaged in themselves. All you have to do is keep getting higher. Continue to shine. Continue to pursue your goals. Continue to respect your route. Continue to keep your peace. Continue to expand your kingdom. Continue to truly love yourself. Continue to have faith in divine timing. Remember that you were made to be just like that. Your narrative doesn't stop here. This is only the start. What you lost pales in comparison to what is ahead for you. The one who is coming for you is much superior than the one who departed. You're heading to a much higher place. You're not just getting over what they did to you. Beyond that, you're propelling them into realms of bliss they can't possibly fathom. The nicest aspect is that it doesn't have to be forced. It's not something you have to battle for. All you need to do is remain in alignment and see what happens. So, stand tall, selected ones. You made it through the assault. The exam was passed by you. The war was won by you. Step into your triumph now. Take charge of your life. Enter your purpose. When you stop focusing on the people who didn't choose you, everything you've been waiting for will finally come. Everything that pre-selected you before you were even born has been waiting for you to begin moving ahead. Now is your moment. Take ownership of it.